mean, this is it, right? It seems ridiculous to put an entire season on a game against the Sharks, but this is it. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates, and I hope you'll check those out as well. Penguins versus Sharks tonight in San Jose. And I mean, the Sharks have lost 9 out of 10. The Sharks have given up 26 goals in their past 4 games. And look, if Evgeny Malkin's still out with the knee injury, as I'm expecting he'll be, if Brian Rust is still out with his own knee injury, if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've got to win this game. And then you've got to win 2 nights from now in Salt Lake City. And then when you come home, you've got to turn that into an actual winning streak, or this is all over if it isn't over already. I don't want to be that guy. And I know for a lot of you, I don't need to be that guy because you can look at the standings too. But there they are. Through 51 games, 20, 23, and 8. 20, 23, and 8. If you're one of those cynics who counts OT losses and shootout losses as just plain old losses, that would put the Penguins at 11 games under 500 as opposed to the 3 that everybody likes to refer to. At 48 points, they're already 8 points off the wild card lead. That would be the Bruins at 56. Senators are in there at 56, Lightning at 55, Blue Jackets at 55, Canadiens at 53, the semi-resurgent Rangers had a tough loss yesterday at 52, Red Wings at 51, Flyers at 50, Islanders at 49. That's it. And after that, it's just Penguins and Sabres. When you're sharing a basement with Buffalo, you just call it a day. You're done. So how do I put this? I am not suggesting that the Penguins quit on anything, nor am I looking at the really imposing math, more so than what I just laid out, that if they were to get into the 90 or 92 point range that's generally accepted to be needed to make the playoffs, they'd have to go 22-9 or the equivalent thereof the rest of the way. They're not going to do that. They might not need that because the East is so down in general. But what you usually see when this happens is that teams that see themselves as having a chance, maybe because the conference isn't all that competitive, maybe for other reasons, they start doing stuff like what the Hurricanes just did with the Mikko Rantanen deal. They start saying, hey, this can be our year. We have some dudes, and we just added one really great dude. Not too many 100-point, there aren't too many money in the bank 100-point wingers in this league. And then they up their game. Or a team that maybe is a little bit delusional about where they are, but might be looking to save jobs, they'll make moves to slide up. So you're not going to see a bunch of teams stay in this same pack. You're going to see 2 or 3 pull away. Now, whether or not they get to the full 90 or 92 points isn't nearly as relevant as the fact that somebody's going to pull away when the pack is this thick, because the pack never ends up this thick. So what do you do? What do you do if you're the Penguins? Do you just quit on the whole thing? Do you send Kyle Dubas a sealed envelope with a message from the locker room leadership that, okay, we get it. Do your thing. We tried. Sometimes we didn't try at other times. For whatever reason, we didn't get it done. Go ahead and do whatever it is that you got to do. And that's where this whole storyline starts to spiral. You're going to go immediately. You're not even going to waste your time with wondering if they're trading Marcus Pettersson. It's going to go right to his best bud, Rickard Rakell. It's going to go to Brian Rust. It's even going to go to the core guys with the exception of Sid. It's not there yet, okay? You're going to have to take my word for that. It's not there yet. It's absolutely unequivocally not there yet. But it's not far from there. Can they turn it around? Sure, absolutely. But the difference between this next turnaround can't be just, hey, we beat the Sharks, and then you go and you get clocked by Utah. It has to be, you beat the Sharks, you beat Utah, and then you beat a bunch of teams, and then you just keep doing that. That's really it, because it's a combination of the points that are involved, but also the confidence that comes with it. You'd have to find something that you're riding that feels new, the way the goal scoring and the power play did starting about a month ago. Maybe it's Joel Blomqvist. Maybe this kid I thought he was really good in Seattle the other night. To his credit, he didn't.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. Obviously not good enough. The game, or we needed like 1 or 2 big saves there from me, which I wasn't able to do today. So yeah, it's disappointing.
But that's also just him. That's how the kid is. He's tough on himself. He expects a lot of himself, and it's not an act. So maybe he's the one that does something here. Whatever it is, it has to start quite literally tonight in California. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Josh, who says, DK, to paraphrase Herb Brooks from the movie Miracle, I don't want the best players, I want the right players. This leads to my question on if the reason that Mike Sullivan's system is so difficult to play consistently is simply because they don't have the right mix of players on this roster. Maybe they need a few more true two-way types, like Lars Eller. Can I just say something about Herbie before I answer? Herbie, to me, is still a person. I don't think of him as Kurt Russell in the movie. I think of him as Herb when he was here in Pittsburgh. And I was blessed beyond words to get to know him as well as any head coach the Penguins have ever had. And I can assure you that the line that was delivered in Miracle was also the line that was delivered in real life as it related to the 1980 Olympic team, but also as it related to other teams that he coached, including the Penguins. He would have traded 2, 3 top talent guys just to make sure that he had the right mix for his style of play. Now, his style of play, to borrow another Herbieism, was founded on the phrase, the legs feed the wolf. If the wolf can't keep up, the wolf's not going to eat. It was all about skating. As innovative as he was, as much as he brought European styles, breakouts, movement through the neutral zone to the North American game, maybe as much as any coach over here. That was mostly in his time in New York coaching the Rangers. He would never stray from that principle because none of it was going to matter if you couldn't skate like a Mark Pavlich. Do the Penguins have the players that are needed to succeed in Sullivan's system that is challenging to play? Let me have that one step at a time as well, please. When Sidney Crosby spoke after the loss in Anaheim about what was different between that game and the one across town where they were just dominant against the Kings, his response was that the system is challenging to play. What he meant by that, and I know this because the subject's come up countless times, isn't that it's super complicated or anything like that, nor that it involves any sort of special level of defensive diligence. Rather, it's that it's high octane. It is all out energy all the time. That's never changed. From day one that Sullivan got here, that's never changed. In 2016, the Penguins brought back a version of hockey that hadn't been seen in the NHL for years. That's to Sullivan's credit. That's also to Jim Rutherford's credit in going out and getting Carl Hagelin and valuing Phil Kessel more than another team might. Why? He needed guys flying all over the rink. He needed them getting the puck, commanding the puck, doing smart things with the puck. This is obviously a different environment. Sid and Gino are still point-of-game guys, but they're not necessarily take-over-the-game guys anymore. So what I have felt, this is just me now, for more than a year now, is that the moment Kyle Dubas came through that door, he should have found all kinds of energy. How many times have you guys heard me bring that up on this show? How many times have you heard me invoke Brandon Tanev? How many times have I said, even if you don't get goals out of your third or fourth lines, you've got to get energy. You've got to get them fighting for the puck. You've got to have them all over the place in everyone's face. Instead, he brought in Noel Acciari, who can barely move. Matt Nieto, who could move a little bit and then had both of his knees requiring major surgery. They're out there taking regular shifts. He's brought in other players who didn't fit. Now, that began to change this past summer, but in my estimation, nothing about this is going to change in any meaningful way until some of these kids in Wilkes-Barre Scranton pan out. That doesn't mean you force them up here, but it does mean that if Ville Koivunen had 4 points in a game this weekend, which, by the way, he did, maybe give him a look. And it would also mean that if you bring up a Koivunen or Vasily Ponomarev or Rutger McGroarty, coach has to play them. So this isn't just on Dubas. This is on Dubas and Sullivan. Sullivan has to be aware or made aware that some of the players that he's religiously deploying don't fit with his own system. That's insanity. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow. I'll be in Salt Lake City. I'm heading out there to cover the Penguins' possibly climactic game with the Utah Hockey Club. Thanks so much for listening.